Hi there, I'm Nikki. I am a trauma-informed coach and hypnotherapist. I work with the intuitive arts and I also work with narcissistic abuse. Today I'd like to talk about separation and divorce. It's a big subject always, but particularly at the moment. I think stats have shown that this Christmas more people split up than ever. There's quite a few clients that I know that actually got left over Christmas or just before Christmas, which was pretty harrowing for them. Yeah, people are struggling. People split up after Christmas often. I think maybe New Year, new start, knowing things aren't right. And this video is just to give a little bit of help and advice from the work I do, the clients I see, and also because I have been through divorce. I've been through narcissistic relationships, a couple, a long time ago now. I know why we attract these relationships. I've made videos about that in the past. I have studied this subject a lot, how we can stop getting magnetized to these relationships and how we can live our true life purpose. So if you are going through a breakup, it can be bring up many difficult emotions, fear, stress, guilt, shame, worry, confusion, anger, betrayal, all sorts of emotions that are very difficult to deal with, and it often takes a very long time to be brave enough to leave, or you may well get left and you are left feeling in a lot of these very difficult emotions, often with children. If maybe you're the mother, it usually goes that way. Or you could be a father, of course, could be the other way round, not being allowed to see your children wrongfully. Often there's right reasons why one parent might not want the other parent to see their children, but it has to be a pretty good reason, because you know the courts rule that both parents see the children unless there is a big safeguarding issue. Now, as I say, I've got some info on how to survive breakup, how to come out the other side stronger, looking at the divorce or separation, not in despair, but knowing it was meant to be, and that you needed to move into something different in your life, but it can still be very difficult. You may at the moment be going through a divorce. You may be wanting to leave your partner. You may be in the middle of everything. I deal and help clients with all of those scenarios going on. I know very well how difficult court can be. I know that it doesn't always go the fair way, but I also can help you with what I know from my clients, what to do and not to do, and how you can make the process of court or separation or parenting with children go more smoothly than it would go if you weren't getting any help, like I didn't when I went through my divorce, because I had no idea you could get help with that kind of thing nearly 17 years ago, and not make the mistakes that I've made and many people have made. For instance, going into court, And many people nowadays are using the term parental alienation. Now, I would very much advise not to ever use that term in court. And the reason I say that, of course, there are parents who are not allowed to see their children unfairly. But when that word gets used, the reason being that I say don't use it is because it came from a lawyer who was representing a paedophile, and obviously the parent did not want that parent to have any access to the children, and the lawyer went in court and used that word. And it did get used a lot in a lot of male support groups where children weren't allowed to see their fathers, and of course many of those fathers should have been seeing their children, and the children were being used as pawns. But equally, where that term came from, it doesn't go down well in court. Another thing is, how do you bring up a narcissistic parent in court? Well, the truth is, it's not a good idea to use that word either, even if you know that your children's parent is a narcissist, because unless you can prove it, and unless that person has a diagnosis, which is never going to happen unless, well, of course it can, but it rarely happens unless that person has gone to a medical professional or a psychiatrist or whatever, and been diagnosed with it and said, yes, I am all these words that are tick boxes of the in the DSM, the Directory of Mental Health, then they're not going to get diagnosed as a narcissist. And if you use that word wrongly in court, it could go against you. So if you are going through a separation right now, you very may, and then you're watching this video and it's tough, and it isn't a split that is harmonious, which does sometimes happen, of course, and both people have decided it's not working anymore and it's the best thing. If it's not like that, you may be feeling one of the 4 main trauma responses at the moment. So you may be highly activated, you may be angry, you may be agitated, you may be highly stressed, which means you would likely be in fight or flight. 2 of the main 4 trauma responses. If you're feeling very low, if you're lacking motivation, if you're feeling like you can't go on, everything's come at you, you can't deal with anything anymore, you may be in the freeze trauma response in your dorsal vagal. If you are desperately trying to please your manipulative partner, if you are doing anything you can to keep them happy because you're scared, because you don't want them to take you to court, because you don't want them to withhold money, maybe you're the parent who's been at home not earning any money and you're desperate and worried, then you could be in fawn. I will pick up on any of these responses when I meet my clients, and I do not judge, I will not push you, I will give you small tools and to do at home between our sessions. I will help you with parenting problems with divorce, for instance. The truth is, if you are separating from an abusive narcissistic partner, there's not a lot of chance of co-parenting. They counter-parent, they do not really care about the collateral damage to the child. As long as it's hurting the other partner, that is the main aim for that type of parent. So to try and co-parent, you're fighting a losing battle, and I see many very good parents desperately wanting the best for their children, trying to reason with the unreasonable partner, and it's just not ever going to work. And it's devastating to see that, but the sooner you realise that that's the way it is, and that you have to parallel parent, which means it's kind of like a train track, and each parent is one track of that line and the child is in the middle, and you know, you're both going in this direction parenting the child, but you're not going to come together at the end and conflict, and that we can put tools in. I can help you set that up, how co-parenting works. It's very important to know that you're likely, if you're in a relationship like this, codependent, as I had codependent traits in my marriage. Codependency is learnt behaviour, and we can unlearn that, and we can heal that, and we can come out stronger and with more power and self-belief. So yeah, if you are in a trauma bond with a partner, which often happens, where you're literally addicted to the emotions, the high emotions, the low emotions, you know, you're getting love bombed at one point in the beginning. Obviously that happens. All these wonderful emotions, dopamine, serotonin, they're all going on. You're on top of the world. And then further into the relationship, the problems start to come to surface. Then you are, you know, which will happen in split ups. The narcissistic or abusive partner will start texting, wanting to get back, telling you how much they love you. Then, you know, and then problems arise. Then you've got all the difficult emotions. Then you're, you know, waiting for this text. Everything in your body's wanting to hear from them. You're in fight and flight. Cortisol's pumping through your body. You're getting in text wars. You're waiting for these texts to come through, checking your phone. And that cycle perpetuates, and that's no good for you. That's very bad for your health, for your nervous system, and it's certainly no good if you've got children involved and you're going through court. And I will help you to set up a system where you can actually be strong enough to not, you know, want to, well, you might want to in the beginning, but not contact that partner unless you have to, if they have the children, where you get a whole new email address, you block them on all platforms, social media, phone, email, and you buy a new phone. You only look at the messages at certain times, or if they've got the children. It takes about 6 weeks of desperately wanting to hear from them, know what they're doing, to usually that's about the time to get over that, you know, addiction to wanting to get back with them and hear from them. I have got notes here because I've got a lot to cover today, so if I do look at them now and again, it's just because I want to remember everything. And yes, most relationships, when they're abusive and when there's trauma going on and maybe there's trauma bonding, the person leaving takes, you know, 7 times often to leave, to actually leave and come back, leave and come back. I'm not talking about just like having an argument and saying it's over. So it's a difficult process if you've got childhood wounding going on and trauma, or anything going on from the past, which, let's face it, most people have. That's going to come into play. And yes, I have helped many people with this, and that's what my, you know, one of the parts of my coaching jobs are. So if you've got to the point where you've got a court order in place, if you are dealing with a difficult partner who will be manipulative, there must be zero flexibility on that court order, I'm afraid. In the early days, you need to take your power back. You know, if you are, if parts are coming out in you, protector parts, which, you know, we all have, you could be blending with those parts. Say, you know, one of those parts might be anger, it might be people pleasing, it might be procrastinating on the court work you've got to do, or the paperwork you need to do. You know, I'm not legal, or I don't, you know, I'm not a financial advisor. It's good, obviously it's a good idea to get those type of people involved, to get your team around you when this happens, your support team. But I can help with those things because I've been through it. And it's very important to be in your power and know where you are. It might be a little bit frightening to work out your finances. It might be a little bit frightening to look at how it might feel to be separated and where you might be going. But you can use this separation, not use it, but you can, this separation can be your time to thrive, your time to move into new energy and a new cycle in life. You know, it's a very good idea to change things up when you go through a separation, i.e. It might be a time to, okay, it wouldn't be a time to maybe look at a new job when you're in the middle of it, in that stress, but if you've been stuck, or, you know, you're at home with the kids, you know, there's a lot you can do to take good out of not being with somebody that is not healthy for you, that it's not been working with for a long time. Some ways of sort of changing things up that I've mentioned are, you know, get a new haircut, change your hair colour, do things differently, go out with friends to different places, you know, join the gym, get down the gym. It's very important to do things for yourself. Self-care is extremely important. You know, if you can afford to do things for yourself, like go and, you know, have a massage, go to the gym, things like that. It's important to get out in nature. It's important to soothe and spend time to heal yourself. You know, if you are going into court, I can help you with things like visualization, self-hypnosis, hypnotherapy, visualizing the court scene, because what your mind sees over and over again, it believes as true. So if you're absolutely worrying yourself to death all the time, thinking it's going to go wrong, thinking it's not going to go in your favour, that's not going to help. Whereas if we do some hypnosis and you do this regularly, envisaging everything going well, going in well prepared, having all your paperwork in place, the judge ruling in your favour, you staying calm, your mind will see that as the truth, because that is how the brain and the mind works, and you will come usually out a lot better off, and you're going in a calmer place. Yet take your control back. You know, stop the fawning, stop the people pleasing, take your life back. This is really time to do that. Boundaries are very important. Nobody can make you feel anything, saying things like, you make me feel this, you make me feel that. They're not going to serve you. Reframe the way you speak. I feel. That will give you power. Engaging in talking all the time about your split up, slagging your ex off, talking about it with friends and family. Yeah, of course you have to do that a little bit, but some friends and family may want to keep you stuck. They may not consciously want to do that, but the 5 people that you surround yourself with are very important. And have a look at them, have a look at whether they're a positive or a negative influence in your life. Maybe say, you know, I do have a bit of a trauma bond going on with my ex, and keep talking about the situation is not helping me break that bond. Keep going over it, keep thinking about it isn't healthy for me. Let's go out and do something different. So family and friends are important. Having a legal advisor, having a financial advisor if you can, having a coach or therapist. If you can't afford these things, there are resources online. Going back to the parenting and communication with the ex, there is also something called My Family Wizard, and what that is an app that both parents communicate through this app. So there's not going to be all the abusive messages going on, because well, if there is, the professionals can see all these messages. They can't be deleted. The thing is, you have to pay for this, and often the abusive or narcissistic partner is not going to want to do that, and they may refuse. But there have been times in court that I've known of that they have been instructed that they need to go through the Family Wizard. Detach your emotions from the response to the and how you respond to the difficult narcissistic or abusive partner. Now, of course, in split ups, people's tensions are high, and they are not always a narcissist, no. But whatever's going on, unless you've got an amicable divorce, it's a good idea to put all these things in place. So do not respond, do not react, do not show emotion. That is what if it is with a narcissistic partner, they will thrive on, and they will, you know, they will love that if they're getting that emotion from you losing your temper, you crying. They will know your triggers, they will know what gets to you, which is very often with these sort of split ups. Criticising your parenting, calling you a bad parent, because if we are codependent, if we are got stuff going on from our past, we're probably guilt-ridden that we're splitting up. Often there's a lot of shame and guilt around it. You know, broken home, single parent. Well, what I say to you, if you have become a single parent and you're bringing your child or children up alone and going to work and doing your very best, is be proud, big up you for leaving and getting your children away from seeing parents that were arguing, where it was toxic, and doing your very best for the breakup to be running smoothly, and your children being at the heart of all this, not in the middle where the narcissistic parent will put them, using them as pawns. You are putting all these things in place to help your child, because your children are the most important people in all of this. Little people, you know, it's very difficult for them. And when you go to court, if you have to go to court, this is very important to show that your children's welfare is the most important thing to you, which it should be, of course. And if you are showing the judge that, not going in name calling and, you know, blaming, but if your ex-partner's behaviour towards the children is not conducive, then these are things you can bring up in court in a way, a manner that the judge will see that your primary aim is the children's happiness, and the children's mental health and the children's well-being. As I say, you don't need to bring that word narcissist up. You can bring up the behaviour of the other parent if it is not healthy towards the children or you. And it's a good idea to make a diary, write things down, save emails, save texts, document things. Yes, children and money are always a big factor in these kinds of split ups. And again, like I say, the narcissistic partner will know that they are triggers for you as well, because if you are the parent who has been looking after the children at home and not working, you may be frightened, you may be worried about your future, you may be, you know, very worried about how you can cope. And that's where talking to someone, going through your options, preparing before you go to definitely court or maybe even a lawyer is a good idea. I mean, solicitors and lawyers now who are trauma informed, which is, you know, more and more, they're not in and out of court as much as they would be if they weren't trauma informed in these situations, because all these things being put in place means less time in court, so which is obviously good for you financially, and in actual fact it is actually good for the solicitor because they will get a good name for themselves, and that word goes around, and you know, they will get known as somebody who understands how trauma affects the parents, and you know, trauma bonding. And if they understand all these things, they will be able to help you navigate this very difficult situation more smoothly. Don't take anything personally with the ex. Know that what they are throwing at you is just a reflection of themselves and their own wounds that have probably never been healed, and that they are trying desperately to soothe by putting you down, by name calling you, by saying, you know, calling you a bad parent, calling you, you know, whatever it might be. Do not take it personally. Do not react. If they say things that are untrue in court, a good thing to say is, you know, that is not true, and that is all you need to say. Trying to justify yourself, and I mean, you might need to, you know, come back with something in court, but you know that's not true. And just leave it. You know, that says a lot, doesn't it? Yes, was there anything else I wanted to mention today? Taking back your control. Yeah, journaling. I do a lot of journaling. It's very good to journal. Write down your thoughts, make a diary, write down how you want to come out of this situation. Write down your ideal, you know, life moving forward. Get out as much as you can, keep busy, do new things. Do not cyber stalk your ex. Do not make up a fake account to try and look at them on Facebook. Yes, I'm sure we've all done that. If you've been through this in the past, do not get your friends looking at their Facebook or Instagram. Don't go jumping straight into another relationship with the first person who shows you a bit of affection. You know, take your time to process all of this. And if you need to cry, if you need to let your emotions out, don't bottle them up. You know, bottling up emotions is not good for you. And ways you might know you're doing that is if you notice, you know, things like excessively going to the gym, binge drinking, over partying, you know, binge watching crap Netflix on the TV, eating rubbish. This is a time to really look after yourself. This is a time to make a fresh start, to make a new start, to change your life. Take the good out of this situation. You know, turn this situation around and take your power back. Anything else I wanted to say to you today? Yeah, get rid of all your ex's possessions from the house if you've split up. And when you refer to them, rather than using their name, use their initials. And if you're writing their initials down, put them in lowercase to give them less emotional significance. gratitudes, write a list of everything you've got in your life that you're grateful for, all the reasons you're grateful for this split up and why it's good for you, and if you've got children involved, why it's good for them. Change up your daily routines. Don't be thinking about the good things that happen, because usually there are more bad things that went on in your relationship. You know, don't sit there, you know, ruminating on, you know, when this happens and when that happens. Don't keep telling your breakup story, as I've said already. You could sign up for a dating app, maybe not too quickly. You don't even have to use it. It's just maybe something that would be good to take your mind off things. And what you could do is make a bucket breakup list of all the things you're going to do now you're in a better place, or when you will be in that better place, when you will be having your power back, you know, when you will have worked on what's held you back in the past, what's held you back all your life, what's got you keep getting into relationships that aren't healthy, toxic ones. So I hope that has helped. It's very early in the morning here. I got up early to make this video. If you are going through or about to go through a split up, know you want to leave, scared, fearful, feeling shame and guilt, feeling bad on your children, remember that you are doing the right thing if this relationship isn't working and hasn't been working for a long time. If you've been suffering abuse, if you've been, you know, told you're this, told you're that for a long time, that is not a healthy relationship that you want to be in, and it's not good for your children to see. There are many tools, many worksheets, work we can do together. I work somatically. We go into, you know, our body, we go into our feelings, we go into the locked trauma that is in your body. It's stored in your cellular memory, and we unlock it. There's many things I've already mentioned here, but if you would like a discovery call with me to talk about your situation, get in touch and we will have that call and see if we will work well together, see how I can help you. And you know, you're doing the right thing if you know things aren't right. Big yourself up. Kudos to you. It's a hard thing to do. Many people sit in stuck all their life, never do anything about it, stay in miserable, unhappy, abusive relationships. Don't be that person. I'm here to help, and over and out. Have a good day, hopefully, whatever you're doing.